Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every day on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell button. Audio versions of the show are available through Spotify. And if you'd like to contact the show, you'll get us on Twitter at @the_upper_tier, or you'll get us on Facebook and Instagram, the Upper Tier. Joining me tonight for our weekly show where we try to make you a few bob while having a little bit of fun and a little bit of interest in these matches. My brother on these shows, Darren, how we doing, my man?
How are you, buddy? All good?
Good, not a bother at all. This, of course, is your weekly Beat the Bookie show, where we try and pick out a few nice picks for you to try and make a few bob. But we also pick out a few long-priced picks as well, and we try and make a few bob. And as always, we'll do an L better too, as we do for charity as well. And if it comes in, we'll donate that money to a charity of mine and Darren's choice. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it comes in this week, because it's a big one that Darren has picked out. Before we get into it, let's run down through the fixtures pretty quick. Starts off Saturday lunchtime, huge game, Leicester versus Chelsea, Aston Villa versus Brighton, Burnley versus Palace, Newcastle versus Brentford, Norwich versus Southampton, Watford versus Man United, huge game for both teams, Wolves versus West Ham, Liverpool versus Arsenal is the evening kickoff, massive game again. Then we go into Sunday, two good games on Sunday, Man City versus Everton, and Tottenham versus Leeds is the 4:30 Super Sunday kickoff. Thoughts? Not going to be an easy week to make a few quid, is it?
No, I don't think so, man. There's lots of games that could be the toss of a coin, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's get into it anyway with a few picks. You picked out a couple of picks yourself. We did the Premier League preview.
We did.
The two that I picked out, you had Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, and Spurs all to win is 4-1. Not too bad, but again,
short price, but it might be something that you can maybe, if you had a couple of extra euros in your pocket, you might decide, you know what, this might be a little Brucey bonus coming up towards Christmas, you know. But don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, always gamble responsibly.
100%. The other one you picked out, which is a real good one, and it's one I'm going to do hopefully for a charity of our choice. What we're going to do is Darren's other pick is all draws in this. Now, I know you picked out score draws when we look at the Premier League preview, but I did it just for draws either way. So it's all draws on Saturday, with the exception of Chelsea and Liverpool. So Aston Villa, Brighton, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Brentford, Norwich, Southampton, Watford United, and Wolves and West Ham. All draws.
Six draws.
1,810-1.
I think I was sneezing wood today from sitting on the fence last night, obviously. Wood chippings. Every time I gave a little sneeze, it was a little wood chip come out and went, oh, that was that fence I sat on last night. Which is very unlike me doing fence sitting. But I think after the international break, and there's a few factors came in. Obviously, there's a couple of new managers going out. So you expect a bounce maybe against a better team, but maybe you think the bounce will be enough to get them, won't be enough to get them the full result. So you're thinking, you know, halfway. Obviously, United have been in poor form. They're away from home against the Watford team, who probably have had a lot of lads there for the last 10 days or so training and getting ready for this. And I think, Ranieri's probably looked forward to that kind of time with his lads.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I wonder, has it ever happened in an 8-game Premier League Saturday fixture list? Have we ever had 6 draws out of 8?
Well, it's basically the 6 3 o'clocks, isn't
it? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much the 6 3 o'clock. So I wonder, have we ever had 6 draws from 6 3 o'clocks?
Or even 5 from 5 or whatever it was. I wonder, we can check that, can't we?
Yeah, we must check and see has it ever happened, because the odds are huge. Like you stick a $5 on this, you're nearly coming away with close to over $9,000 nearly. You know what I mean? It's a decent bet. A tough one to get up, obviously, because to get 6 draws up is a stretch. But we'll do that one, and if it comes in, a charity of our choice will benefit from it, no doubt.
Definitely.
Good one. I picked out a couple today. Both teams to score is one I always like. I always like the both teams to score and the result, and the both teams to score. And I also like the over 2.5 goals. I think they're always a cool kind of bet to have, because no matter what happens at the start of the game or in the first few minutes of the game, your bet's not gone, that kind of way. Yeah. So with both teams to score, I did Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Watford United, and Aston Villa, Brighton. And that returns 8-1.
That's not a bad bet, man.
Yeah, I picked that one
Bit
out.
of value in
decent. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Bit of value in that, absolutely.
This is where it gets a little bit cagey then, because what I did was I did both teams to score and the result then.
That is absolutely my favourite bet.
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
Hands down.
I did this, and you'll be surprised at the odds on this now, and it might not be too far away from what we're thinking. So I did Chelsea to beat Leicester, both teams to score.
Right. So hang on, let me start totting that up in my head now, Niall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we're about 5-2 there. Right. Go on.
Yeah, and then I did Liverpool.
Have you got the prices in front of you?
I don't have the prices for the individual games. I have the prices for the accumulator.
Go for it.
So we'll see if you get it then. And then I have Liverpool, of course. Liverpool to beat Arsenal, both teams to score.
Okay.
And then I have Man United to beat Watford and both teams to score, which can be a little bit iffy in the bet.
So as a treble.
I've one more, and then Aston Villa. So Aston Villa to beat, Brighton, and both teams to score.
Okay, right. So let's go. 1, 3, 4, 4, 2, 8. I'd say that pays close to 80-1.
Would you believe it plays 140-1?
They're good prices, man.
That's a very good price, isn't it?
They're good prices, man. Yeah.
You're scribbling these down.
Yeah. Mental note check.
Yeah, I looked at that one today and I couldn't believe that's what price it was. I couldn't believe it, because it's a decent bet,
and like, when I'm having a bet, I'm thinking about 5 o'clock and I'm going, did I see that? As in, did I see that result coming? Did I see it? Was it on the cards? Like, you could see those 4 results coming, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Like that, they're all plausible. They're all, I can see how someone would come to that conclusion and go, this is a solid bet. Like,
yeah, the odds don't make it look as far-fetched as you would think.
No.
So you're in the game with a real good chance, and the odds are solid.
Yeah.
So the next one I did was over 2.5 goals. So I did Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Watford, Man United, Aston Villa, Brighton, and City and Everton.
And why did you not have Spurs and Leeds in there?
I just didn't put it in because I didn't.
Don't forget, Spurs are going to absolutely spank Leeds this weekend, and I'm going to look at Spurs at a minus in the handicap. I'm going to have a little mooch at Spurs and see what they are. -2 maybe in the handicap. I think it's going to be that comfortable for Spurs on Sunday.
I could throw them in, but that as it stands is 12-1. So I suppose if you put Spurs in on that, what are you going to bring it up to? About 22? 20?
No, 64 maybe, something like that. 64. You could bring it up to more. Bring it up to 28 or 30s.
Yeah, which wouldn't be bad, obviously, if you can't.
Yeah, it could be 30s, from 12s, yeah.
So that's a decent bet. John, then one of our listeners sent in his bet. He's gone with the handicap bet for the Manchester team. So he's gone with United -1, which is a risk to me, and City -2, which I think is less of a risk, and it pays 4-1. So not huge odds.
Your big problem there is you're relying on United showing up, aren't you?
I think the world and their fan base aren't they? Yeah.
United have shown up this season, but nobody seems to know when they're going to show up is the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be open to be water for that now, I have to say. But John, thanks very much for getting in touch, man. We appreciate you.
Yep. The other one was Matt. Matt sent in his Saturday treble. So he has Man United, Southampton, and West Ham all to win 6-1.
Yeah, it's another tough one, isn't it? I know, obviously Southampton are away at Norwich, aren't they? United are away at Watford. 2 winnable games, but just because of the Jekyll and Hyde nature of United and Southampton, it's tough. And then who was the last one? That was West Ham.
West Ham away to Wolves. So it's 3 aways.
3 aways is tough, man.
Yeah.
Now I know. Here's the one thing I will say: more than ever, away victories seem to be a little bit easier to come by since, let's say, COVID times and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, you can't say it's not going to happen, but again, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, because you'll often find even, the way sometimes they do those specials where they just give you 3 ways to happen. Yeah. And they give you decent odds on that. So that's how tough it is to get it up. But regardless of picking the actual matches, it's a tough one to get up. Another one of our listeners, Sean, sent in a bet as well. Both teams to score. He has Aston Villa and Brighton, which we've mentioned above already. Burnley and Palace, and Newcastle and Brentford, 9-2. Short enough odds though.
Short enough for all 6 teams, isn't it?
Yeah, short enough, especially in the Burnley Palace one.
They're looking for, and I know, like, here's the other thing you've got to remember: a short price winner is better than a long price loser, isn't it? And I think sometimes people can go searching when they're having a bet, as in going looking for maybe value that sometimes just isn't there, and because they start looking for, I want to get this price, I want to get that price, they start making a bet up almost instead of going, what do I actually fancy? I'll bet on what I fancy, and if the odds are short, I'll win less and be happy with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. A 20 on a 5-1 is the same as a 5 on a 20-1.
Do you know what I mean?
In reality, yeah. So that's what happens. Sometimes you look at these bets and you go, well, if I just throw in another one, if I just put in that other fixture there, and that's the one that grabs you like that, and just yeah, absolutely. Mark, of course, our resident referee, he sends in his bets every week. He had a look there this morning. He always likes to do a goal scorer one, so anytime scorers. He loves those ones. So he sent in today Ward-Prowse, San Maximan, and Salah, anytime goal scorers, 22-1.
That's value.
Yeah, it's not a bad bet, sure, isn't it?
That is value. We know the boy Ward-Prowse takes the penalties and the free kicks for Southampton, right? You've got Salah, who's obviously home against Arsenal. Arsenal have been solid over the last few weeks, but not unheard of them to concede a goal or two. And who was our last one there?
Sam Maximan for Newcastle. Eddie Howe after just going in.
Jeez, you know what? It's a lovely bet, that, isn't it? And he's had a good bit of success with these bets, I believe.
He's had 2 or 3 of them up so far since we started the show. Yeah, he's done well.
Absolutely. Yeah, good man, Mark.
Here's one now that might interest you, and this came out of left field because he doesn't normally do these ones. He normally does the goal scorer ones and stuff like that. But he said he went for Watford half-time, United full-time. And that's also 22-1.
Is it, yeah? And I mean, everybody knows how poor United are in the first half of games and how early we've conceded goals recently. But managed to come back. I mean, it's happened in the Champions League a few times and stuff like that, hasn't it? Yeah. It's a great bet. 22-1. Yeah. Got to be worth, a fiver, hasn't it?
Yeah, he was shocked today when I went back to him and I said both bets were the same odds. He couldn't believe it, so he says I'm definitely doing both of them. So after that,
and then you might even do 2 €4 singles and a €2 double and get a bit of value out of your tenner there. Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they're the picks for this week. That's what was sent in. So I don't know if there's anything else that catches your eye apart from getting me to throw Spurs into the over 2.5.
Well, I really fancy Spurs this weekend. I'm in a last man stand, and Spurs will be 100% one of my teams this week.
That'll be a banker.
They'll be one of my bankers. They'll go to Leeds. They'll be solid, resilient, tight. Plus, they'll have that little bit of explosive kind of power on the bounce like that. With Kane back to form, and Son and Steven Bergwijn had a good game the other night for the Dutch and stuff like that. I really, really expect Spurs to absolutely steamroll Leeds.
Probably expecting a clean sheet as well, are you, with Leeds' form up front at the moment?
Yeah, possibly. But the only thing I will say is they have been so poor over the season, Spurs. I know they got the clean sheet the last day, but I think that was as much to do with how the goals have dried up for Everton with all the injuries and stuff like that. Yeah. So now I know Leeds haven't been in flying form on front of goal, but the boy Rafinha can pop up with something special, can't he? Every now and again, and
they shipped they shipped 2 goals to Vitesse as well. Remember when they were well in command,
and like a poor Vitesse team. you know.
So do you reckon we should flip them into the both teams to score bets as well?
Yeah, I think that could be a good bet, pal. You know, because I do expect them to win, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Leeds get on the score sheet. You know,
so throw them in there, both teams to score on Spurs as well, and then throw them into the over 2.5 as well.
There'll be a decent price at result on both teams to score. It'd probably be 4-1, maybe.
It's interesting because that bet's already at 140 to 1.
You know, you're really taking off then, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do both of those, right? And whichever one comes in, we'll do it for one of the charities as well. And whichever one comes in, we'll throw a few bob towards the charity if it comes in.
Absolutely.
So we'll do that absolutely and add it in.
And I just had a little glance myself earlier on, you know, just that because that championship is a tough result, is a tough league to get a bet up in. But and this is the thing for me, there's always going to be a couple of surprises in that championship. It's just finding them at the right times, because if you can find the team that stumbles this week, there's big benefits and big payouts, you know, there for you.
You have to follow it though religiously, don't you, to be in tune with
it? You do. You've got to be, you know, they're 2 games a week every week, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to be watching, you've got to be paying attention, and who played and who scored and who assisted, and because obviously with them playing 2 games a week, at certain times managers are going to give guys a rest, and they rest a guy on a day that you've put a few quid on, and all of a sudden you look like a silly beggar, and they're going down to us. Because like, what have we seen? The Coventry recently, was it Fulham? They battered 4-0.
Yeah.
Who were top of the table, and you're going, whoa. Now Coventry playing very well, have the best home record in the league if I'm right, absolutely flying. But you still don't expect them to be Fulham 4-0. Not with the quality and the calibre what Fulham have on the pitch, and obviously Marco Silva and stuff like that as well, you know.
Well, you see, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, how do you find that one?
Yeah.
You know, and that's a very tough one to find. Like if I mean, I'll tip my hat to you there if you were on Coventry, you know what I mean? It's
no, I wasn't. But the only thing I will say is if you'd have been following Coventry's form at home, you may have gone, do you know what? These guys are in with a kick. Now, when they beat them, I think they were 4th or 5th in the table. So it wasn't like they were down the bottom of the league, you know. But you would have had to have been looking out for it. Bristol City have been really, really poor at home this season. They're playing Blackburn this weekend, and if I'm right, which I think I am, our friend Ben Brereton Diaz has scored every time he's come back from the international break. So I would fancy Blackburn. They're 8-5, but again, if you can put them in with maybe Spurs minus a goal or 2, and then both teams to score in a game and maybe a goal scorer, you can really put together something nice.
Maybe some sort of a bet builder on them with the scorer in there as well, or something anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The championship, you know, the prices can be really, really good, but it is a difficult bet, or it is a difficult league to get a bet up in. You know, it really, really is. And then I know a couple of lads who do the same bet every week, where they're favourite picking. And they're picking, you know, really, really short price favourites, but they're putting maybe 8 or 10 of them together in their accumulator. And they'll stick 20 or 30 quid in it and go, that's me bet for the weekend, that's one, and you know, and try and pick up maybe a grand or something like that, you know.
Yeah, there's always with those 6 or 8 games, isn't there? There's always one, as you said, like that Coventry one would be a perfect example, because you put Fulham in there and you'd be kind of nearly nailed on it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're watching them go 3-0 down the first half, and you're scratching your head going, did that just happen? And I mean, I don't know about you, pal, but the absolute worst feeling in the world is when you get to half time in them 3 o'clocks and your bets are gone tits up already, and you're like, what do I do for the other 45 minutes here?
Not only that, what if you include the lunchtime fixture? And that's in a lot of your bets.
I never do it, only because I don't get out of work in time to get the bet on.
Yeah.
And I took the app off my phone. I just said, you know what, I won't do it. If I don't get to the bookies, the bet doesn't go on. If I get there, I put it on. that's all fine and dandy. But the Saturday afternoon, I nip in. I told you I like to see the teams and all come out. One and know what I'm betting on and who I'm betting on. And if Guardiola's just decided to change things up a little and go with, Ferran Torres up front and whatever, you're thinking, we'll have a little look here. And you know what I mean? I like to see stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's the Saturday afternoon, the 3 o'clock, when you can keep it alive for the last 15 minutes of the game. Yeah. It's great. Twice this season. So I told you earlier, my favourite bet is both teams to score and the result. And I would typically do 4 to 5 of them in an accumulator. And so in each game, you need a bare minimum 3 goals, right? Because you need one team to score once and you need the other team to score twice. Yeah. Right? So bare minimum, you're going to need, say, 15 goals from your 5 games. Yeah. And twice this season, we count down when we need goals, myself and the young lads. And twice this season, we only needed 1 goal to get our bet up. For nice money, and then another day we had the bet up, and somebody nicked an equaliser, so you're and that, but that's what gets you there next week, isn't it?
Yeah. What was the one that caught me out? Who was the team there a few weeks ago and they scored? Was it against Wolves, or was it they scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes or something? Was it Watford?
It was Wolves beat Villa. Remember 2-0 down?
Wolves beat Villa. Remember, out of nowhere. I had Villa in my bet there, Villa and both teams to score, and it looked like we were coasting, and out of nowhere then, jeez.
I had 2-0 Villa. Remember we had done it in the preview, and Villa went 2-0 up, and I loving life. Yeah. And I think there was 75 minutes gone, 2-0. I said, that's that, done and dusted.
Phone starts pinging.
94th minute, there was a winner with a big juicy deflection from a Neves free kick, wasn't
it? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Jesus, man.
It was mad. I remember just sitting here watching it, and the phone just started pinging, and I was going, "Oh, come on, seriously, what's going on there?"
And it's horrible when you're watching that. You can do nothing about it.
Oh,
and you're like, somebody make a change, take someone off. What do you do?
Pack the defense.
My mum. We typically go over to my mum's house on a Saturday, and I'll just walk into the house, and no matter who's there, I'll just pick up the remote and put Soccer Saturday on and be and we kind of chill out. And the kids will go out in the garden and play around, whatever, But with myself and the older lad, we'll be counting down the goals. Many do you need? But my ma every Saturday, you two will have heart attacks watching this shit. You know what I mean?
You start screaming at it and everything. Yeah. It's good fun.
When you're shouting at the screen, come on, Coventry, like this, and the Evan's like, are you not a Man United fan? I was like, come on, Coventry.
even if it was against United and it's in your bet.
I regularly, and I don't know whether I told you, and I know I've told some of the other lads, I would quite regularly, when United get to a cup final, back the other team.
This sounds controversial. This is spawned from somewhere. What happened here? You got burnt on a bet and you learned your lesson, did you, or something?
No, listen, I want to get something out of this final, right?
Yeah.
So if United win, I'm a United fan, I'm happy out. Life is good, right? If United lose, I'm heartbroken. But if I can saddle it off with the fact that I've had a score on the other team to win it or whatever, it softens the blow a little bit. So very early on, I realised, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna back the team who are playing against, and if we win, I'm winning, and if we lose, I'm winning, and life is good. And United is for everybody.
United fans, if you're watching this episode now, come in here, talk to us, comment about Darren's theory here that he backs the opposition, so either way he's gonna win. I suppose it depends on the odds. You know what I mean? Would United winning the Carabao Cup be the equivalent of you picking up maybe $2,000 off a bookie? I don't know about that.
It would depend on the price, you're right.
That's controversial, I tell you now. I like the theory of it and the thinking, but Jesus, it's iffy, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I won't use the words proper fans, but proper fans might come in here tonight and go, "What's this guy on betting against his own team to cover his meals?"
Here's the other thing I will say: like, you bet with your head, not with your heart. So if I feel like United are going to be rolled over, I'd back against them. Absolutely no problem. Because when people are betting or people are gambling, you're gambling and you're using your instincts to try and better what the bookie is giving you. And if, you've got to think about this. This isn't just a, ticking boxes exercise. And if it is, you shouldn't be gambling for my money,
It's gamble responsibly, not stupidity.
Right, absolutely. So I would quite regularly, like, if I thought, you weren't gonna do the business, like, I'd not have no problem sticking a few quid in the opposition. Just because you bet with your head, not with your heart.
Jeez, I love the theory. Someone has to have a view on this. This is like, I don't know. Look, I don't think I could do it. I just don't think I could do it. I know where you're coming from, but I just don't think I could do it. But yeah, an interesting thoughts there. Absolutely, yeah.
They'll really go at me for this one, I reckon.
Oh, I don't know, Jesus. I can see you walking in putting a few bob on Watford on Saturday, big time.
Listen, the Stranger Things and all that, pal, I think Watford could get something on Saturday. I did mention that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they can be dangerous on their day, absolutely.
It can be. Look at what they've done to Everton a couple of weeks ago and stuff like that. Look at what they did to Villa in the opening day of the season. They're no mugs, and when things click for them, they have players with ability and stuff like that. And you've seen United, we can have off days. We can have really, really off days and look like, 11 lads that have never seen each other before. And you're kind of going, what's this here?
Well, I suppose to pardon the pun, but would we be shocked if Ranieri outfoxed Ollie?
I don't think we would we?
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
Not at all, man. Not at all with what he's done. If you're winning league titles with Leicester, you can go and do what you want, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You're getting the key to the city, really, aren't you?
You are getting the key to everything, really, really are.
Right, well, listen, pleasure having you on as always on this Beat the Bookie show. It's always a bit of crack. I love that theory. Get in the comments there. Let us know what you think on this theory. It's soften your mood one way or another.
Yeah,
as always, this has been your Beat the Bookie show every week.
My missus is looking at me going, he's lost 3-0. Why are you so happy? I said, I just won a bag of sand, love. Leave me alone, will you? I'm grand. Let me wallow here on my own.
As always, as we always say each week, always gamble responsibly. Don't be
Absolutely.
gambling with money that you can't afford to gamble with. There is no certainties ever in this life. And we know that being football fans, so always gamble responsibly, not with rent money or bill money or any food money or anything like that. The videos of the show.
There is only two certs in life, my friend.
Death and taxes.
Death and a nurse.
As always, YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network for the videos, Spotify for audio versions of the show. This has been the upper tier, and we will be back with you again real soon. Cheers, bud.
Thanks, man.